ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शांति शांति शांति. Namaskar my dear friend, this is video number 8 on the Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba's divine discourse for the sadhakas who are pursuing the sadhana of self-realization and liberation. This is 13th discourse, the scientist and the saint. The word manva, man, has several meanings. One of them is that man has an ancient origin, ma meaning not and nava meaning new, indicate that man is not new. He has had a long past. Another meaning of the word is one who lives without ignorance. Ma means ignorance, na means without, va means lives. The reason for this is the fact that in man there is a sacred principle composed of the 5 basic elements: ether, air, fire, water and earth. If we examine the nature of the human state from the scientific point of view, it is found that the tissues of the human body are composed of the 4 elements: hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and carbon. The unified expression of these 4 elements is the human condition. Ignoring this unity, scientists today are seeking to explore the nature of matter by breaking up the love principle. The spirit of love is spirituality. Splitting of love is science. Scientists are exploring matter by dividing love. They are unaware of the nature of love. They are ignorant of purity. Scientists are imbued only with a sense of inquiry into matter. Consequently, today there is a complete divorce between science and spirituality. Matter and energy are not separate. Scientists are not examining the relationship between matter and energy in the correct way. Scientists hold the view that matter is convertible into energy and vice versa. But in fact, the two are not separate. They are inseparably interlinked and interdependent. The attempts to divide matter and energy have given rise to many doubts and confusions. What is the new discovery that scientists have made today? All their discoveries are of what already existed. Take for instance, gravity. Gravity has existed from the beginning of creation. Newton sought to find out the laws governing gravitation. He did not discover the phenomenon anew. He only found out what already existed. That the earth had gravitational attraction was known even before Newton investigated it. Likewise, matter and energy have existed from the time of creation. Both are comprehended by the mind only. When the mind functions in relation to the divine, it acquires the form of energy. When the mind is turned toward Prakriti, nature, the latter assumes the form of matter. Mind is the cause of experiencing joy or sorrow, and for comprehending matter and energy. Recognizing this quality of the mind, the sages declared the mind is the cause of liberation or bondage for humanity. There are 2 concepts, drishti, seeing, and drishyam, that which is seen. It is because of the power of sight that we are able to see the visible objects. It is because the objects are there, we are able to see them. There is thus an inextricable relationship between seeing and what is seen. Today it is because we separate seeing from the things seen that sorrow arises. Seeing and that which is seen should become one, the one in the many. What is Pavitram purity? This has been characterized as Shakti, energy, power. Purity has been described as the state of desirelessness in man. When there are desires, sorrow also dogs them like a shadow. When there is sorrow, there can be no purity. The mind is the cause of both desires and purity. The Vedas have declared I am one, I shall become many. It is the one that has become the many. This is the unity that underlies the diversity. In this context, these concepts have to be understood. Sajathiyam, Vijathiyam, and Savagatbhedam. Sajathiyam. Although human beings differ in form and characteristics in various respects, they belong to the human species. Sajathiyam refers to the oneness of the species. In terms of the human body, every human being has one thing in common regardless of their differences. Differences of race, religion, caste, language, or community do not affect oneness of humanity. This is Sajathiyam, belonging to the same species. Whether one is an American, a Chinese, or an Indian, he is a human being. Vijatiyam relates to differences between species. For instance, there is nothing in common with a human being and a tree. The tree does not belong to the same species as man. There may be innumerable varieties among trees, but all of them belong to the vegetable kingdom. There are differences between the human species and the species of trees. These differences are covered by the term Vijatiyam, differentiation among species. Swagat Bhedam. This term relates to functional differentiation. For instance, man has hands, legs, ears, eyes, mouth, and other organs all in the same body. Blood is the same. The heart is one only, but each organ discharges only its specific function. The eyes can only see but cannot hear. The ears can only hear but cannot see. The body is one, but each organ and limb performs only its particular function. This functional differentiation is called Swagatha Bhedam. Power of the divine is indeterminable. Scientists today are accomplishing any number of things, but they are unable to recognize the divine potency that exists in the human being. Here is an example. The earth is one. When a lemon seed is planted, the fruit that comes from the lemon plant tastes sour. If a mango seed is planted and a tree grows from it, the fruit of that tree tastes very sweet. If a neem seed is planted, the fruit from the neem tree is bitter in taste. The soil is the same, but the fruits from the different trees have different tastes. Likewise, although all human beings are made up of the same elements, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon, individuals vary in their mental and other qualities. What is the reason for these innumerable differences? What is the force that is behind these genetic differences? How do the scientists account for them? When they are able to understand the reason for these infinite differences, the scientists will achieve fullness in their knowledge. The truth is, no one can determine the magnitude or range of the powers of the divine. Science is partial, spirituality is holistic. The fundamental difference between science and spirituality is this: science is concerned with investigating the external phenomenal universe. Spirituality is engaged in exploring the inner workings of the divine. The scientist is one who has an external vision. The one who has an internal vision is a saint. Here is an example of the difference between scientific truth and spiritual truth. If you draw the figure of a circle, that which ends where from it started in the full circle has been described as Purnam, the full or the whole. Purnam Adaha, Purnam Idam, Purnah, Purnam Udyachate, Purnasya Purnam Andaya Purnmeva Avasyate. That is full, this is full. When the full is taken out from the full still remains. The full circle represents spirituality, for in it the end and the beginning are the same. Spirituality knows no difference between beginning and end. The very term Adhyatma means that which has no beginning or no end. To understand what is science, you cut the full circle into two halves. The left half is a semicircle which resembles the English letter C. C is science, that is, it begins at one point and ends at another. Between these 2 points there is a big gap which is called Agmaya Gocharam. It is beyond reach, invisible and incomprehensible. Matter is creation, spirit is creator. Matter and spirit may be regarded as two semicircles. Scientists are only investigating matter and are ignoring the spirit. The two parts have been described in Vedantic parlance as Prakriti and Paramatma. The scientist is the one who inquires into the nature of Srishti, creation. The saint is one who seeks to know the Creator. The scientist is preoccupied only with studying creation. What about the Creator? Once you understand the Creator, you can understand the whole of creation. That's why, that's what That was why Saint Tyagaraja said, Rama, if I have your anugraha, grace, all the grahas, planets will be within my grasp. Therefore, if you comprehend the Creator, you can easily know all about creation. Creation, the phenomenal universe, is within the comprehension of the senses. All that we hear, see, and experience are within the purview of our senses. We refer to all these things as this, and this idam. But what is beyond the senses is referred to as that. Purnam adaha, Purnam idam. That is full. This is full. The term that refers to something which is distant. From what is that distant? From what is this near? We use the term this to refer to things which are within the purview of the senses. That refers to what is beyond the senses. So what is beyond the senses has been called Adhyatmic spiritual. What is below the senses has been called Bhautik, elemental, constituted by the five elements. We are simultaneously below the senses and above the senses. Below the senses is the body. Beyond the senses is the Hriday, the spiritual heart. The eternal Hriday is encased within the perishable body. It is like keeping valuable jewels in a relatively cheap iron safe. Divinity is the valuable treasure kept in the iron safe of the body. This indicates our true form. Bend the body, mend the senses and the mind. If you wish to understand your true nature, you have to do three things: bend the body, mend the senses, and the mind. The first step is to bend the body. That means you should not allow the ego to develop within your body. Cultivate humility and do your duties sincerely. This is what is implied in bend your body. Mend the senses calls for examining how the senses behave, whether they are tending to go astray, and correcting and restraining them when necessary. And the mind calls for quietening the vagaries of the mind. How is this to be done? It is by turning the mind in a different direction. For example, there is a lock and key. When the key is turned towards the left, the lock gets locked. If the key is turned towards the right, the lock is opened. Thus, the keys perform both functions of locking and unlocking, and the mind by turning Godward. In man, the heart is the lock, the mind is the key. When the mind is turned Godward, the heart develops detachment. When the mind is turned towards the world, the heart develops attachment. Thus, both attachment and thus both detachment and attachment result from the way the mind functions. When the mind is directed towards Prakriti, nature, or the phenomenal world, bondage ensues. When you turn your mind towards divinity, you experience Ananda, bliss, and the mind means turning the mind Godward. All you have to do is to dedicate every action of yours to the divine. Then everything becomes easy and a source of bliss. Science can offer you only temporary worldly comforts. Spirituality alone can give you enduring bliss. All the amenities which provide temporary comfort also give rise to unhappiness. A person may be sitting in an air conditioned room, but his mind is filled with anxiety and worry. His brain is heated. One who has peace of mind will experience no discomfort even if he is in a forest. Peace, therefore, cannot be got through science. In fact, science and technology today are leading man away from peace. Is any scientist enjoying peace of mind? No, he is leading an utterly artificial life. He is filled with worries. His mind knows no rest. All the age of man today are due to the fact that his mind is never restful and quiet. The mind is preoccupied with worries. Even an inanimate machine needs some period of rest, but no rest is given to the mind. If we desire peace for the individual, for the society, and for the nation, it can only be achieved through spiritual means. Hence, recognizing the truth without attaching excessive importance to worldly comforts, we must make every effort to acquire peace of mind. No doubt physical comforts are necessary up to point, but they should be limited to meeting the basic demands of nature. For instance, man requires sleep. Similarly, peace of mind should be got through natural means. The spiritual path is the only way to achieve the peace that passeth understanding. Discourse at Sai Shruti, Kodaikanal, 6 May 1988. Discourse number 14, Conquest of Desire. Do not go after wealth and possession, O man. With good sense, control your desires. What you get is the result of your actions. With good sense, control your desires. What you get is the result of your actions. With right means, regulate your mind. Chant the name of Hari and Govinda. O dull-witted man, when death knocks at the door, kindred and scholarship will avail not. Embodiments of the divine spirit. Trishna has two meanings, desire and thirst. It is natural in daily life to have a desire for certain necessities and comforts. Among the necessities for daily living, three are most essential: food for sustenance, garments to wear, and shelter for dwelling. The desire for these is natural for man. Even in this, there are two kinds of desires. One is natural, the other is excessive and misdirected desire. I want a house is a legitimate desire and one should seek it. But it is greedy to possess two or more houses. Today, greed is more prevalent among men than desire for necessities, with the result that man is afflicted with grief and worry. He has become a stranger to contentment. He is steeped in discontent on account of insatiable desires. The other meanings of the word Trishna is thirst. Whenever one is thirsty, one has to drink water. When will this thirst end? Thirst will not end as long as life lasts. Even at the moment of death, people feel thirsty. How is the thirst for material things to be quenched? It is possible through the efflux of time to get rid of iron shackles when they get rusty, but it is not easy to get rid of Trishna desire. Trishna is the cause of limitless desires. If desires are fulfilled, one's ahankara ego gets inflated. If they are not realized, hatred develops. Sadhana constitutes divine wealth. There are three doorways to hell for man: kama, lust; krodha, hatred; and lobha, greed. Desires tend to get out of bounds, hence it is essential to try to curb them as far as possible. The process of controlling desires is called sadhana. The literal meaning of sadhana is the effort you make to achieve the object you desire or to reach the goal you have in view. Sadhana is thus the primary means to realize your aim or objective. A second meaning of term is sadhana, that is wealth that is associated with divinity. Dhana is described in three ways as Aishwarya, Sampada, and Dhana, material wealth. All of them refer to the same thing. The wealth will not accompany us when we give up the body. If wealth is lost, it can be regained. If strength is lost, it may be recovered. But if life is lost, it cannot be got back. Hence, while life still remains, one must strive to acquire the divine wealth that is imperishable and everlasting. Your conduct constitutes this divine wealth. It is only by the way we live that we can acquire this divine wealth. Cultivate good qualities, character, and conduct. Good conduct alone is our real wealth. Good qualities alone constitute our real Aishwarya, treasure. An unsullied character expressing itself in a pure and perfect life constitutes the most precious riches one can possess. Good conduct, good qualities, and an exemplary character are the most valuable riches one can possess. But men today have given up these three and are seeking worldly goods and immersed in their own concerns or imagine, imagining that they are leading pious lives. The divine cannot be attained through such delusions. All the teachings one listens to, the books one studies, and the education one receives are only serving to nourish these delusions and not helping man to seek the divine. To realize the divine, one has to get rid of these delusions. Today, education is said to be advancing at giant strides. Students, nothing much will be lost if we have no education at all. All education today aims only at preparing students for worldly purposes. Think of the great sages and renowned men of the past who did not have this education but who led such exemplary lives. What great things are you going to achieve by pursuing these studies all during your waking hours merely for earning a living, while forgetting God? The uneducated and illiterated are better than the educated who are ruining the country. It is the educated who are responsible for plunging the country deep into the mire of insolvency. The illiterate might not be doing any positive service to the country, but they are not doing any harm to it. But the educated are doing more harm than good to the nation. It is better not to have such deleterious education than allow it to cause havoc. Discover your own true nature. Man today is trying to master every kind of knowledge but is unable to discover his own true nature. This is what Prahlada told his father Hiranyakashipu when he said that although Hiranyakashipu had conquered all the worlds, he had not conquered his senses. By conquering the worlds, one may become the supreme sovereign over them, but one who has mastered his senses is supreme over all rules. He is the King of Kings, the Kingmaker. The true education should induce humility in the student. Without humility, education will lack luster. Humility will bring out the true qualities of an educated man. It will proclaim the virtues of a person. Reverence for elders, loving regard for parents, discriminating between right and wrong, adoring the Lord. These are the hallmarks of humility in an educated person. This is the essence of good character. It is the fragrance of human life. We should realize that one who has given us this human birth may be expected to take care of us in one way or another. It is needless to aspire after wealth, position, fame, or power. If you do your duty, all these will come to you of their own accord. Enthrone in your heart the love of God. Once that love is enshrined in you, the whole world will be yours. If you are a slave of desire, you are the slave of the world. If you have conquered desire, the world will be at your feet. Truth and love are the essence of all Shastras. Recognize the truth and pursue your studies on this recognition. Whatever learning one may acquire, whatever degrees one may flaunt, whatever power or position one may wield, whatever japa or worship one may perform, one cannot achieve liberation unless one has deep love of God. Therefore, cultivate that love first. Love is everything. Truth and love should be regarded as the two eyes of every person. If we have these two eyes, we can master the world. Truth and love can be regarded as the distilled essence of all the Shastras. Love is the quintessence of all Dharma Shastras. It is the goal of all religions. If we drink nectar of love and truth, we do not need anything else to sustain us. Love and truth cannot be taught by gurus or learned from books. They may be set forth in granthas, books, but you will not experience their gan- gandham, fragrance. They can be acquired only by living them in life. We must endeavor to love all. If we are to earn the love of the Lord, we have to love everyone. The best way to love God is to love all. Fill your heart with divine love. Love all, serve all, hating everyone, cavilling at everyone, feeling jealous of everyone. If you want to experience grace, how can you have it? Only if there is water in the tank, you can get water in the tap. If the tank is dry, how can you get water from the tap? If you fill the tank of your heart with divine love, you can have love towards everyone and receive love from everyone, whoever it may be, whether he is a devotee or a believer, an aspirant or an unbeliever. His actions will determine what rewards or punishments he gets in life. You sometimes think the Lord has protected me in this manner or punished me in this way. It is not the Lord who has protected you. It is not the function of the divine. It is your prayer that has protected you. Your good actions have saved you. Your good behavior is your shield. If you have experienced difficulties, calamities, or sorrows, they are the consequences of your thoughts and actions. Hence, whatever happens to man, good or bad, it is the result of his own deeds. God is a witness. Current is flowing in an electric wire. When you switch it on, the light burns. When you switch it off, the light goes. But it is not the light that is coming or going. It is the operation of the switch which brings the light or turns it off. The current is serving you and also punishing you. God is the cause of creation, protection, and emergence. Likewise, the current that powers of creation, protection, and destruction. How does the current create? Drawing energy from a generator, it provides power for lamps to burn, for fans to work, and for various other instruments to function. The current is one, but the uses are many and diverse. In all these ways, it discharges a creative function. It also gives protection to man in various ways through light, fan, etc. But if out of a mistaken sense of gratitude you touch a live wire, it will give you a shock which may even prove fatal. Thus, it has also the capacity to punish. God is present in you as prajna. God acts as creator, protector, and destroyer. You must show your gratitude to God by your actions, not by words. You have to learn how to make proper use of the things provided for you. God is omnipresent. He is within you. Your good conduct in the form of God gives you protection. He is present in you as prajna, constant integrated awareness. The Vedas have declared Prajanam Brahma, consciousness is supreme reality. If the students ask themselves where is God, they will get an answer in the prayer that they utter before every meal. You utter the mantra Brahman Annam and recite the sloka Aham Vaisnavaro Bhutava Prani Nam Deham as Asritaha. The latter sloka means I, the divine, have entered all bodies of living beings in the form of Vaisnavara. This means that the Lord who is within you is giving you protection by digesting the food you eat and nourishing the entire body. If you act against the dictates of your heart and conscience, God will punish you. All that you see outside is only the reflection of your inner being. The good or the bad you experience are the reflection of your feelings. Do not delude yourselves that by merely offering worship in a temple you have earned the grace of God. If you worship God but harass the people around you, will you earn the divine grace? Your prayers earn a plus for you in your spiritual balance sheet. By causing harm to people, you earn a minus. The result of this plus and minus is zero. It is therefore of primary importance that you should develop a consciousness of the divinity present in all beings. Practice the preachings of the scriptures. Today, the Bhagavad Gita is being preached from street to street. It is revered as a sacred book. Similarly, the Quran, the Bible, and other sacred books are worshipped as spiritual texts. But is anything being done to practice what the sacred books teach? Many eminent persons have declared their belief in the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. The brotherhood of man is considered a great ideal, but the Gita has presented a higher ideal. Brotherliness is considered as a great quality, but we know how brothers fall out, take their differences right up to the Supreme Court and ruin their families. How can the mere fact of being brothers be considered a great virtue in itself? The Gita commends the Ekatma Bhava, the feeling that one spirit dwells in all beings. It declares that the Atma residing in all beings is one and the same. Eko Vasi Bhuta Antratma declares the Gita, the indwelling spirit in all beings is one. Nor is that all. It also declares that all human beings in the world are a fragment of the divine. How many are aware of this truth and how many are living up to this pronouncement? Very few indeed. In spirit of the prodigious propagation of the Gita, how many are practicing its teachings? How many are leading exemplary lives? Few in this situation. It is enough if you adhere to one thing. You have no need to study any books to contemplate on God or earn God's love. Spirituality is the only way to purity. There is nothing wrong in studying the scriptures, but you have to put into practice the teachings which you value. Continuous study merely clutters up the brain with lumber. Confusion results from studying the views of different authors. The first requisite is to strengthen faith in one's self, hold fast to one belief and adhere to one path. If you persevere in this manner, divinity will manifest itself spontaneously in due course. Students have to cultivate, along with education, humility and observance of sanskaras, right conduct. It is only when the heart is purified through sanskaras that education will also get saturated with purity. Spirituality is the only way to purity. Discourse at Trai Vrindavan, 29th May 1988. Do not hesitate to practice humility and obedience, discipline and compassion. Give up pride of your status, wealth, scholarship or official position. Can't a big officer, a rich merchant, a great scholar, a highly respected man in society descend to this level of clubbing with this sorrowing man? Do not ask such silly questions. These qualifications of which you boast will disappear with death or sometime sooner. The ananda that you give and the love that you share will be your lasting possessions. I complete this video here. Thank you for watching this wonderful video. Namaskar, my dear friends. Next video number 9 will start with Divine Discourse number 15. Let your light shine. Thank you. Namaskar.